You've been told your whole life that a tough mindset is something you either have or you don't, that mental toughness is reserved for elite athletes, Navy SEALs, or people who were just born with an unbreakable will. But here's what most people don't understand. A tough mindset isn't about being emotionless. It's not about never feeling fear or doubt, and it's definitely not something you're either born with or without. A truly tough mindset is built, piece by piece, through understanding how your mind works and training it like you would train any other muscle. And the most empowering part? You're already capable of developing it, no matter where you're starting from. Let me show you how. The first thing psychology reveals about building mental toughness is that it begins with accepting discomfort as information, not as a threat. Most people operate under the assumption that discomfort means something is wrong. When you feel anxious before a presentation, your brain interprets that as danger. When a workout gets hard, your mind tells you to stop. When a conversation becomes difficult, every fiber of your being wants to escape. But research indicates that mentally tough individuals have learned to reframe discomfort entirely. They don't experience less discomfort than you do. They simply interpret it differently. Instead of seeing anxiety as a sign they're not ready, they see it as a sign that what they're doing matters. Instead of viewing physical exhaustion as a limit, they view it as an edge they can push past. This shift in interpretation changes everything. Think about someone learning to public speak. The person without mental toughness feels their heart racing and thinks, "I can't do this. I'm going to fail. Everyone will see me panic." The person with a tough mindset feels the exact same physical sensations but thinks, "My body is preparing me to perform. This energy will make me sharper. This matters to me, and that's why I feel this way." Same sensation, completely different outcome. The next time you feel discomfort, pause and ask yourself, is this dangerous or is this just unfamiliar? Almost always, it's the latter, and unfamiliar is exactly where growth lives. The second insight is that mental toughness is built through micro-commitments, not massive willpower. There's a damaging myth that tough people just force themselves through anything with sheer determination. But psychology shows that sustainable mental strength actually comes from keeping very small promises to yourself, consistently. Every time you say you're going to do something and then you do it, even if it's minor, you build what researchers call self-efficacy. This is your brain's evidence-based belief that you are someone who follows through. It's not built by occasionally doing something heroic. It's built by doing the unremarkable things you said you would do, over and over. If you commit to drinking water first thing in the morning and you do it for 30 days straight, your brain starts to recognize a pattern. You are someone who keeps commitments. When a bigger challenge comes along, your mind has a reference point. It has proof. Here's a relatable example. Imagine you tell yourself you're going to make your bed every morning. It's a tiny action, takes 2 minutes, doesn't change your life on day 1. But on day 60, when you face a much harder decision, like whether to go to the gym after a terrible day at work, your brain has 60 days of evidence that you do what you say you will do. You've built a track record. The version of you that keeps small commitments is the same version that will keep big ones. Start small. Keep one minor promise to yourself today. Then do it again tomorrow. That's the foundation. The third principle psychology teaches us is that tough-minded people don't avoid failure. They deliberately seek feedback from it. Most people treat failure as something to avoid at all costs, and when it inevitably happens, they internalize it as evidence of inadequacy. But research indicates that individuals with high levels of mental resilience approach failure with curiosity instead of shame. They extract data from it. When something doesn't work, instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," they think, "That approach didn't work. What can I adjust?" This is called having a growth mindset, and it's one of the most researched psychological traits linked to long-term success and emotional resilience. Let me give you an example. Two people apply for a promotion and don't get it. Person 1 spirals. I'm never going to move up. They don't see my value. Maybe I'm just not leadership material. Person 2 thinks, okay, I didn't get it this time. Let me ask for feedback. Let me see what skills the person who did get it had that I can develop. Let me treat this as information. 6 months later, person 2 has improved in specific areas and tries again. Person 1 is still stuck in the same place, convinced they're not capable. Same failure, entirely different trajectory. The mentally tough don't fail less, they just refuse to let failure mean anything permanent about who they are. If you've failed at something recently, write down one specific thing you learned from it. Not what you did wrong as a person, what you learned about the process. That reframe is everything. Number 4. A tough mindset requires protecting your attention like it's your most valuable resource, because it is. Psychology shows that one of the biggest drains on mental toughness isn't big traumatic events. It's the constant low-level distractions that fracture your focus and deplete your willpower. Every notification, every scroll, every moment of split attention is like a small leak in your mental resilience. Tough-minded people are not people who can focus on 100 things at once. They're people who have trained themselves to focus on one thing at a time with intensity, and they protect that focus fiercely. Think about your daily attention. How often are you fully, completely present for a single task? Most people are listening to a podcast while working, checking their phone while talking to a friend, thinking about tomorrow while eating dinner. This constant state of divided attention keeps your brain in a low-grade stress response because you're never fully completing anything. Research indicates that the ability to sustain attention on one thing, even when it's difficult or boring, is one of the strongest predictors of long-term achievement and mental resilience. Here's a simple practice. Choose one task today and do only that task for 20 minutes. No music, no phone, no multitasking. Just you and the task. Notice how hard it is at first. Notice the urge to check something, to fill the silence. That urge is what's been weakening your mental toughness without you realizing it. The more you practice single-task focus, the stronger your mind becomes. Toughness isn't about doing more, it's about being fully present for what you're doing. The 5th insight is that mental toughness grows when you separate your emotions from your actions. This is wildly misunderstood. People think tough-minded individuals don't feel fear, sadness, or doubt. That's completely false. Psychology shows that emotionally resilient people feel the full range of human emotions. They just don't let those emotions dictate their behavior. They've learned to create space between what they feel and what they do. Let's say you're feeling anxious about starting a new project. A mentally weak response is, I feel anxious, so I'll wait until I feel ready. A mentally tough response is, I feel anxious, and I'm going to start anyway. The feeling doesn't go away, but the action happens regardless. This is called emotional agility, and it's a skill you can develop. Here's how it shows up in real life. You feel exhausted and don't want to work out. A tough mindset doesn't mean you suddenly feel energized. It means you acknowledge the fatigue and work out anyway, because your actions aren't controlled by your momentary emotional state. You feel scared to have a difficult conversation. Toughness doesn't mean the fear disappears. It means you have the conversation while feeling the fear. The emotion is valid. The action is separate. Start practicing this with small things. Notice when you're avoiding something because of how you feel. Then do the thing anyway, and observe that you survived feeling uncomfortable. That's the training. Number 6. Mentally tough people have a deeply internalized sense of purpose that pulls them forward when motivation fades. Research indicates that motivation is temporary. It comes and goes based on mood, circumstance, and energy levels. But purpose is permanent. It's the deeper reason underneath your goals. And people who have cultivated mental toughness have learned to connect their daily actions to something bigger than just how they feel in the moment. Let me explain with an example. Two people are trying to build a business. Person one is motivated by the idea of freedom and money. When things get hard, when the initial excitement fades, their motivation dries up and they quit. Person two has connected their business to a deeper purpose, providing for their family, creating something meaningful, proving to themselves they can build something from nothing. When motivation fades, and it will, person two keeps going because they're tied to something that doesn't fluctuate with their mood. That's the difference.
If you want to build a tough mindset, you need to ask yourself, why does this actually matter to me? Not surface-level why, deep why. The kind of why that will sustain you on the days when you feel like quitting. Write it down, revisit it. Let it be the anchor when everything else feels unstable. Toughness isn't about forcing yourself through misery. It's about being so clear on your purpose that the difficulty becomes worth it. So where does that leave you? If you're someone who's always thought mental toughness was out of reach, I want you to hear this clearly. It's not about becoming someone you're not. It's about training the mind you already have. It's about reframing discomfort, keeping small promises, learning from failure, protecting your focus, separating feelings from actions, and anchoring yourself to purpose. None of this requires you to be superhuman. It just requires you to be consistent. And consistency over time is what transforms an ordinary mind into an unbreakable one. You're more capable than you've been taught to believe. The toughness you're looking for is already inside you. You just have to start building it, one small decision at a time. If this resonated with you and you want more insights into how your mind works and how to use psychology to your advantage, hit that subscribe button. This channel exists to help you understand yourself better and become the strongest version of who you already are. I'll see you in the next video.